What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about why the Atlanta Falcons should sign J.J. Watt in free agency. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll know when your boy has done Atlanta Falcons content or Cleveland Cavaliers content. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys for continuing to tune into the channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're about 130 subscribers away from 1,000. So I really appreciate you guys continuing to share out my content on all the social media platforms. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So like I was stating, in today's video, I want to talk about why the Falcons should consider signing J.J. Watt in free agency. First off, if you haven't heard, J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans have decided to part ways or go their separate ways. J.J. Watt is now a free agent. He spent his whole career so far since 2011 when he was drafted by the Houston Texans. He has been their franchise player ever since they drafted him back in 2011. J.J. Watt has been one of the most dominant players in the NFL history on the defensive side of the ball. Prior to Aaron Donald coming on the scene a couple years ago with the LA Rams, J.J. Watt was that guy that everybody was calling the best player in the league, the best defensive player in the league, the best defensive lineman in the game. J.J. Watt is one of those guys that's very versatile, can play on the inside of the defensive line at that 3 technique, can also play that defensive end position. And he was one of the most dominant players and been one of the most dominant players of the last decade. He did make the all-decade team through 2010 through 2010, to 2020. And J.J. Watt, I believe, would be one of the best free agents we could actually sign, or best acquisitions our Falcons could sign this offseason. J.J. Watt goes about 6'5", 290 pounds. He would be a great addition for our Falcons if we could sign him, if we could pair him with Grady Jarrett. I talked about in my last video about us possibly drafting Christian Barmore out of the University of Alabama. But J.J. Watt, I feel like, would be a huge addition for our Atlanta Falcons. He's only 31 years old. I do believe that J.J. Watt still has a lot left in the tank. He is a guy that plays with a very high motor. The only thing about J.J. Watt that kind of is alarming to me was the injuries that he's had. But I still would sign this guy even with his injured history. He has had back surgery, I believe 2 back surgeries, and he's had a litany of injuries throughout his NFL career. But he is one of those guys that has over 100 sacks on his NFL career. He's had two seasons where he has had over 20 sacks in a season. And he's one of those guys that's a generational player. And I really believe if we could sign this guy, it would be huge for our Atlanta Falcons. Kind of like when we brought in 2016, Dwight Freeney. I really feel like this defense could use a guy that's a veteran pass rusher. And not only just a veteran pass rusher, but one of the greatest pass rushers of all time, when you stack it all up. So I definitely think that J.J. Watt is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I really think that he could come and bring not only his wisdom to these younger players that's on the team, but I also think that he could come in and draw some attention away from Grady Jarrett. I continue to talk about Grady Jarrett is the star player on our defense, or one of the star players on our defense, but he needs help on that defensive line. And if we could bring in a J.J. Watt, he would be one of those guys that'll help a Dante Fowler come along. He'll be a guy that can help some of these younger guys that we have on the roster, like a John Kaminsky. And I really feel like if you bring in a guy like a J.J. Watt, it would just up the play and up the level of our defense. Bringing in a guy like Dean Pease that runs the 3-4 defense is right up a guy like J.J. Watt's alley, because J.J. Watt did play the 3-4 with the Houston Texans For all 10 years that he was there, they played the 3-4. So I definitely think that Dean Pease would know how to get the best out of a JJ Watt, even even after him being, not being the same player that he once was, or not being as dominant as he once was. I think Dean Pease would know what positions to put JJ Watt in to succeed. So I definitely think that JJ Watt will be a huge addition, like I said, to our Atlanta Falcons. I always talk about it. You can never have enough pass rushers and never have enough great players in the trenches. And I really feel like the Atlanta Falcons should really consider bringing in JJ Watt. He's a guy that not only can rush the passer, but he's a guy that's excellent in stopping the run and setting the edge. And he will definitely be an addition, or be a huge addition to our team if we could bring him in. If you add him to that defensive line room, like I said, not only will he be a huge addition because of his skill set and him being able to teach these other guys on our team like different pass rush moves, but he also has that wisdom because he's been around the game. He has that experience that our Atlanta Falcons need on the defensive side of the ball. So I definitely think that bringing in a guy like JJ Watt would be great for our Atlanta Falcons. I really think that we should consider signing him to probably like a 2 or 3 year deal. I'm not too sure how much money JJ Watt will want on the open market, or how much money he could demand on the open market. But I definitely think if we could bring him in for like a 2 or 3 year deal, I don't think he would be looking for more than about 6 to 7 mil a year. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not too sure, but I definitely think the Falcons should, definitely consider bringing this guy in. Like I was saying, I think he definitely would be an upgrade over all of the guys that we had playing last year on the team, like Steven Means and Jacob Toyota Mariner and John Kaminsky, Marlon Davidson. We have an extremely young defensive line. So I really feel like bringing in a veteran guy, that can bring these young guys along, like Dwight Freeney did in 2016 with Vic Beasley and with the guys that we had on the roster. I really feel like this defense is missing that leadership of that veteran player that has done it. Because it's one thing to be a veteran player, but also being a veteran player that was an all-time great or is an all-time great just ups the level of the players around you. So I definitely think our Falcons should strongly consider bringing in JJ Watt if the price is right. I do believe that bringing him in and pairing him with a Grady Jarrett, they could be dominant on the defensive line together, kind of like Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh were this past season. And like I said, if you bring a guy like a JJ Watt in and pair him with Grady Jarrett, now you can, the Dante Fowlers of the world are going to get a ton of one-on-one matchups. And Grady Jarrett and JJ Watt, both of those guys play with high motors. So I really think if we bring this guy in, they could really wreak havoc on a lot of the quarterbacks in the league, especially a guy like Tom Brady that's in our division, that's a pocket quarterback. If we bring in a J.J. Watt and along with Grady Jarrett, those guys could definitely push the pocket and create pressure, because at this point, the Buccaneers are the champions, the defending champs now, and basically the division now goes through them. So we definitely going to have to continue to bring pass rushers in. The Buccaneers showed us again in the Super Bowl of having great pass rush with the JPPs of the world, the Shaq Barretts, the Vita Veas, and Ndamukong Suh. They had a litany of guys that could rush the passer. And like I said, you can never have enough great pass rushers, and the game is won up front in the trenches. So if you have good trench play, if you have guys that can get after the passer, guys that can stop the run, that's how you win games in this league. That's how you close out games. And we've known for the last couple years, since 2016, our Falcons team has struggled with being able to close out games because we're not able to stop the run and we're not able to rush the passer. So you guys let me know what you think about a guy like JJ Watt. Like I said, I think he will be a great addition to our team, because he's multifaceted. He's not only a guy that can play the defensive end position, but he's also a guy that can play that 3 technique or play on the inside and rush the passer as well. And I think if you pair him and Grady Jarrett together, along with Dante Fowler and maybe some guys that we sprinkle in or we possibly draft, we could really have a dominant defensive line. But with that being said, this being your boy Jew. You guys let me know what you think of the video. What you think about signing a guy like J.J. Watt. I do think, like I said, J.J. Watt would be a huge addition to our team if we could bring him in. But with that being said, I'll holler at you guys in the next video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for your boy. And I'll holler at you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.